Welcome, everyone. Today's topic is Journey to Excellence, how hard work and mindset unlocks success. So we're going to talk about some key points, and then we're going to have a reference to how you can apply that into your own life, personally and professionally in real estate. Okay. Okay, so let's get started. But before we get started, are there any questions on the line before we continue? Okay, so if no further questions, let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the basics for success. Okay, so let's talk about the importance of the right mindset. This is super, super critical. Okay, so there are two kinds of people: the ones with fixed mindset, they believe that intelligence is fixed, that either you're smart or you're not, right? So they don't believe in getting better, improving. Whereas the growth mindset, they believe they can do it all, right? Even if they don't know something today, they learn, okay, through making mistakes, by somebody else's advice, experience, and so forth. So the key to success in real estate and in your personal life is to have a growth mindset. So let me show you the main differences of how people see challenges. For instance, when somebody has a fixed mindset, they feel uncomfortable. They don't feel like doing something that is out of their comfort zone, right? So that's the fixed mindset. Whereas the growth mindset,
I believe I can do it.
exactly. You believe on the growth mindset, it's the opposite, right? You embrace changes. And if you think about it, the only thing that is constant in life is changes. So you've got to embrace changes. Otherwise, you are going to be left behind from your peers. So you always have to learn. So let me tell you, one of the things that has worked amazingly well for me is Audible. Audible is a phone app owned by Amazon, and then you buy books that you can listen to, so you turn your commute into a university. So you listen to books on the way to the store, to work, on the way back. For me, it relaxes me. Lately, what I've been doing is I've been learning Italian while I go in the morning to the gym, come back. So it's something for me to not only grow but also relax. Now, let's move on to the next one, obstacles. Um, Many people that believe they don't know what they're getting into, they give up easily. So we see a lot of investors in real estate that the minute they face an obstacle and they're stuck with it and they just can't find an answer, they easily give up. Okay, so that's one of the main reasons why many investors don't make it to the level they should. And whereas the growth mindset, persistence, right? Persistence is the key because you're going to be facing roadblocks left and right in real estate. Ideally, you're going to learn from other people's mistakes, and you will have a support network and a peer or a mentor that is going to help you get unstuck. But again, it's inevitable, right? So that you're going to be facing obstacles. It's impossible to know it all. So the key is as you go, right? Don't wait for all the stars to align perfectly for you to take action. Remember, action trumps knowledge all day long. Knowledge is power, but execution, action trumps knowledge all day long, even if it's not the right action, okay? Even if you make mistakes, you're gonna be step ahead. The key is to execute and take action. That's something that we do constantly, personally, in real estate and in ChicagoDealVault. So we execute in a small scale, just to test out the waters. We do prototyping. So if the prototype works, then we just make it into a slightly bigger scale, but we execute. We don't always do things right, but at least we are step ahead from where we were before. So the key is to continue growing, learning. Effort. So the fixed mindset, they see efforts as fruitless or even worse, right? Whereas the growth mindset, they see that as an opportunity, as it says here, a path for mastery. So when you work hard, um, you've got to work smart, okay? So the key for making your best effort is to not trying to reinvent the wheel, is to work smart, to do it efficiently and effectively, okay? So that's something that is very, very critical. That I don't want you to get confused that effort means a lot of work. You've got to put in the time, right? But you need to spend the time on the activities that are going to add value in a meaningful way to your life. For instance, in real estate, okay, in real estate, there are only three activities that you can engage that are going to make you money. One is making offers, two, talking to listing agents, sellers, and three, networking with peers, mentors, investor minded like yourself. So that's going to be critical for your success, to focus on the activities that are going to get you the most. Next, criticism. Okay, it is super, super important. This is a very critical point. So the fixed mindset, they ignore, they feel attacked when they get criticized, whereas the growth mindset is the opposite. They love feedback, they learn from it. And that's how we've built everything that we've done, for instance, in ChicagoDealVault, right? So it's based on your feedback, like the new project of the buying tour. It's based on your feedback, your ideas. So we do masterminds, and we hear people's opinions. We always get feedback, and it could apply to any field, right? It could be real estate, it could be a sport. I love playing soccer, so while I'm on the game, I always ask my peers, or even at the end of the game, hey, what could I have done better? And then sometimes I ask them to scream, yell at me on the field if I need to do something differently. So I'm always seeking feedback to get better from people who know more than I do. Okay, that is super important, to embrace uh, positive feedback. But sometimes we're gonna get criticized, but don't take it personal. Take it as an opportunity for you to learn. Okay. Now, success of others, the fixed mindset, they feel threatened, perhaps jealous, whereas the growth mindset is the opposite, right? They feel motivated, inspired by the success of others. In my case, when I see somebody very successful, I'm eager to get to know them. I want to know, I want to learn, I want to crack the code. What is it that they did to become so successful? Because in my mind, we're all made the same way, right? We have a similar IQ. We all have the same number of hours a day. So what is it that they have, right? That I don't have. So I'm always fascinated by what people have that are super successful. So let me tell you, one of the things that I learned by talking to very successful people and that I've applied in my life, and that has worked amazingly well, is, believe it or not, to start the day super early. But obviously, for that to happen, you need to go to bed early, right? So um, we go to bed fairly early. Like, we're all in bed by like 10 p.m. Okay? So, which means that you need to get at least 8 hours of sleep, and then we're up by super early, 5:30 or so. So in this case, this morning, for instance, I was up by 5:15. I started to make phone calls to the team. We got a face meeting with a couple of members. So that was extremely productive. And from there, then before everyone wakes up, I go to the gym for a little bit, swim, work out. Listen to, now I'm learning Italian on the way to the gym, on the way back. So it's just amazing, right? When you come back, I come back with so much energy, ready to help with whatever it's required at home, breakfast, with the kids. So it just makes a big difference. Okay. And guess what? When you do something consistently for at least 60 times consecutively, it becomes a habit. it's extremely powerful. Because I've tried the opposite, right? So in the past, I used to go to bed like 1, 12, 2 a.m. and then get up late. So, I felt lethargic throughout the day, right? It's just not the same. And everyone starts early. And let me tell you, one of the things that has also worked immensely well for me, as I told you before, networking, we're in the people's business, is super critical to get in touch with people. So every single day, especially in the morning between 8 and 9 a.m., that's when I make my phone calls. Okay. And I'm going to start with the most critical, I would say, topics that I need to address or resolve first, early in the morning. And guess what? That's when you're going to get a hold of people. Between 8 and 9, it's just an ideal time frame. So you start the day super, super strong, and believe it or not, that's going to make a huge difference in your life. At least for us, that has worked immensely well. Like for instance, I see George on the line. So I called George this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning. I think it was 8 o'clock his time. It was 7 o'clock my time, right? Because today he's in Florida. So we had a great conversation. We were able to, talk about certain things, feedback. So it was just amazing, right? Start the day early, make phone calls, push yourself to connect with somebody. Just think about who are you going to connect with today. So today I talked to George. I talked to two attorneys. I talked to a private money lender. I've talked to several members of the group, the deal makers. So just being in touch, it's a people's business. You'll be surprised. You'll be amazed how much you're going to learn from your peers, from your mentors, just from anyone. It's very gratifying. So I encourage you to, get out of your comfort zone and start making phone calls. I know it's intimidating at times, but it's very, very critical. Okay. Get out of your comfort zone. In fact, I remember when about 2 years ago we started DealVault. Andrew told me we were sitting on a plane next to each other going to Grand Canyon. And he told me, Hugo, you've got to build a community around DealVault. The problem is that I don't think you're the kind of monkey to put up a show in front of people and communicate. So I said, you're right. I'm very introvert, but I pushed myself out of my comfort level. And then I took public speaking seminars to feel comfortable. So I'm constantly pushing myself. That's the key to grow. Otherwise, you become stagnant. You pretty much die alive. So you always need to push yourself, and it doesn't need to be real estate. Like I told you guys, I'm learning Italian. I was learning Albanian. Uh, Anything that you enjoy. It could be a sport. Um, so it's just incredible, right? To connect, to talk to people, get feedback. So I just love learning, and that's one of the key features for very successful people. They never stop learning. They're always on the go. They're always up to something new, right? It could be business related, it could be personal, and it's just amazing, right? Because you open up your opportunities, you open up your network. So it's just incredible. So having the right mindset is going to be extremely critical. Like the program we just started about a week and a half ago, right? The deal makers, where we're just going to do what makes money in real estate. Seeing properties, making offers, talking to listing agents, talking to sellers. So we're going to engage in that activity. Not only that, but networking with peers, with key players, and so forth. So sometimes I don't have the answers for everything that we're doing because it's something new for me and for the team. But I told the team, we'll just figure that out as we go. That's the key, right? That you won't have all the answers for everything that you engage in, but you're going to learn as you go. Nothing is going to be perfect, okay? That's very, very important. A lot of people are perfectionists. And the problem is that they are afraid of making mistakes. They're afraid of perhaps losing and they stagnate. You've got to break out. You've got to try new things, okay? And always get feedback. That is critical, right? Because you might be going into the wrong route and you don't want to reinvent the wheel. So talking to people that are in that field, in that particular area, will help you tremendously. Okay, so now what are the steps that you can actually take today, right, to get out of the comfort zone? Stretch yourself, set a goal, okay? Get out of your comfort zone, right? Like yesterday we had a meeting with the deal makers team and somebody said, well, but I don't feel comfortable reaching out to people that I don't even know, I've never talked to. Guess what? Make an effort. Get out of the comfort zone and call at least one or two people today. Tomorrow, push yourself and call 3 people and so forth. You'll be surprised how easy it will become. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. Okay, be specific, right? As I just mentioned, set specific baselines. Okay, so this week I'm gonna be reaching out to 10 people. Next week, add 2 more, maybe 12. Okay, I do that myself personally when I go swimming. Like today, I'm gonna do maybe 5 laps. Tomorrow, I'm gonna do 5.5. So I slightly push myself a little bit, right? Or I'm gonna swim maybe 1 extra minute. So the key is for you to stretch yourself, and you'll be surprised how far you can get. Okay, imagine more. Don't be content with where you are today. That is very critical. Okay, always try to get better, because otherwise we're gonna be left so far behind, right, from the competition that it's not even funny. Um, Number 2, learn a lot. Okay, become a learning machine. As I told you, what's worked for me is the Audible. It's just amazing, right? We can consume books, and in fact, let me share a new app that we just discovered. It's called Headway. Head like head, and then way. You can find summaries of books, so you can consume 5, 6, 7 books a month. It's incredible. So I'm gonna make sure that I write these down. Headway, okay? Headway. It's an awesome app where you'll be surprised, you know, how they summarize the key points of any type of book that you can think of, and you learn significantly, okay? And it's just so gratifying, right? When you know a little bit more, consider reading as a good investment. Okay, absolutely, right? Because that's something that you're going to take with you in your life. If you buy material things, yes, it's a subscription.
Is that
Subscription based. But it's great. I mean, I highly recommend it. I mean, I'm addicted to Audible. I have a really large library, and what I now do is you can select or pick the speed. So sometimes I go a little bit faster so I can consume more information quicker. But Headway, Frida is addicted to this. I mean, and she's telling me, I just finished like a couple of books last week. I was like, whoa. So that's how we got started into this. So make sure you download Headway. It's an incredible app with summarized books. Okay, and it doesn't need to be real estate. It could be anything that you're interested in life. It could be a language. It could be personal growth, personal development. It could be about relationships, right? Personally, I've been so fascinated about personal relationships that has helped me tremendously with my marriage with Frida. It's just been amazing, right? Because conflict is inevitable in relationships, and by learning how to resolve conflict efficiently and effectively, my goodness, that has taken us to the next level in our relationship. I mean, it's stronger than ever, and we have accomplished this through what's called a dialogue. Um, where people, when you get somebody upset, right, it's all about emotions. So you've got to understand how you make them feel with a certain emotion, because if you don't do this dialogue to try to find out exactly what they felt when you took a certain action, it builds resentment, right? And then it continues to build resentment. It's like an emotion. Think about this like an emotional bank account. So it's like a withdrawal. So you're going to be in the negative. Whereas like when you understand, their emotions, not only are you going to understand, you're going to mimic, you're going to empathize, and oftentimes you will end up apologizing, right? When you made somebody feel pretty bad. So it's just amazing, right? Learning from all kinds of subjects, not only real estate, is going to be extremely helpful and gratifying in your life. Learn a lot. Practice with purpose. So the more you do, the better you will get. So that's absolutely true. But this is the key. When you have inefficiencies in things that you are doing, the more you do inefficiencies or the more you automate inefficiencies, that's going to just magnify your issues. So you've got to be careful, and you have to make sure that when you practice, you are focusing on the activities, on the tasks that are going to get you the more, like the 80-20 rule, right? 20% of your actions are going to get you 80% of your results. So you've got to focus in real estate, as we mentioned, right? Making offers, looking at properties, networking. It's a people's business. On anything, like for instance, I love soccer. I played in a team, and I wanted to become the best scorer. So I talked to my peers, because some of them were coaches. I said, what is it that I need to do? Give me 3 things that I need to focus on to become the top scorer in the team. And they told me, Hugo, it's very simple: positioning on the field, control, and finish. So I focused on those 3 things. It was like a year and a half ago. I ended up becoming the top scorer, obviously with their support, with their feedback. So it was so gratifying. But this is the key, right? You've got to focus on the right thing. And one of the things that you have to apply in real estate, or let me tell you, I've seen this is one of the biggest mistakes, that people start to take on so many tasks. They want to become experts on so many things that they end up doing nothing. Okay, so you've got to learn to delegate. The way we become, I would say, very successful, and we have a lot of free time, is by delegating to virtual assistants. Okay, we have a network of virtual assistants. I mean, they can do from CMAs to accounting. They can do customer service. They can do marketing. They can do research. You name it. Anything that comes to your mind, anything that is in your to-do list, could be done faster, quicker, more efficiently, cheaper than you can. So what I've seen is that people become the bottleneck of their own success. To get over that, you've got to delegate. You've got to have assistants to help you to free some of your time, because I understand that there are some mundane tasks that need to be done, but guess what? They could be delegated. And you know what I realized? That when I do something myself, there's somebody on the other side of the world that can do it faster, cheaper, and quicker. So it's like, when I have a task, I really think about it. Am I the right person to do this? Or would I be better off spending the time to find the more qualified individual, right? That will do this consistently, because I'm not perhaps the most consistent individual, right? But yet this task is very critical. So I don't want that to be holding me back from being more successful. So that is something super important that we have built. So we use 3 platforms. So 3 platforms that we use. One of them is called Upwork. Upwork.com, okay? So Upwork.com, that's where you can hire longer term VAs. So for instance, in our case, for customer service, for outbound calls, for marketing, for social media, for website development, for technical development, then we use Upwork.com. There's a second platform that we use extensively. It's called Fiverr. Fiverr.com, okay? Fiverr.com is to hire somebody short term, okay? For instance, if you need a website, if you need a logo, if you need a transcription, if you need a video, if you need something that is short and quick. Gracias, Gigi. Then you can use Fiverr. And typically you can find like great people, very qualified, very inexpensively. Now, this is the secret. When you use Fiverr, make sure that you use level 2 individuals. So you have the newcomers, I never use. You have level 1, they're unexperienced. Level 2, they have significant experience. And then you have the experts. The experts are way too expensive. So I never hire experts. So level 2, we found that it's the best individual for the price, okay? Now, for Upwork, you can hire somebody based on an hourly base or based on a project, right? So you say, I have $200 allocated for this task. So when we start hiring somebody, we do it on a project basis. So we have $200 for this task, and then you're gonna get bidders on it. Once you get to know someone really well and that you're comfortable with their skill set, timeframes, then you can switch over to an hourly rate, which is way better. So that's just one of the tips that has worked immensely well for us that you can take advantage. If it's somebody locally, we use TaskRabbit. Okay, sometimes we need some errands to be done, and we hire somebody from TaskRabbit. Make sure that you do it maybe 3-4 days in advance, otherwise it could become expensive, like $25 an hour. But if you do it in advance, then you can pay 10, 12. So it's very, very, very reasonable. Okay. So next, get feedback. Yeah, we cover that. Get feedback is very critical. Okay, so we do that in DealVault, sending feedback surveys. I do it myself when we're starting new projects like the deal makers. It's so critical, right, for all of us to get feedback and learn from it. Some people, they're not so nice when they tell you negative things, but don't take it personal. The objective is for you to grow, to learn something different, and to change, right, to make things better. Next, listen, reflect, and start the cycle again. Okay, so always, and in fact, I mentioned this earlier. When you talk to somebody, it has to be a two-way communication, right? But you've got to listen first. People love to talk about themselves. So the best thing that you can do is listen, listen, listen. Understand what they're all about. Understand what they're interested in. And most importantly, become a giver. Find out how you can contribute to their interests. How can you help them achieve their goal? Okay. When you become a giver, that's going to be extremely gratifying, even if you don't get anything right away in return. It's okay. It will come back to you one way or another. But the key is to listen, understand what people are all about. You'll be surprised when you find out from the least expected individual. Okay, and that has happened to us in real estate, right? When we meet somebody that you think of them as, well, not a big deal, and they are a big deal. Okay, some people are extremely humble, and you'll be surprised, and how much, how powerful that is, right? When you listen and build long-term relationships and great business partnerships. The key is to listen, always listen. And in fact, in real estate, right, when we approach sellers, what's the key and rule number one? To listen, understand what they need, what their problem is, so that you can better understand how you can help them. Because when you understand what the problem is, you have solved half the problem. So it's very, very critical for you to apply these. Play the long game. Okay, there's not such a thing as immediate gratification, right? So there's nothing like overnight success. It's gonna take learning, falling, getting up, right? Like Thomas Edison, right? It took 10,000 trials before he invented the light bulb. So that's what success is all about, right? You've got to fall, wake up, get up. But this is the key, that you never have to quit, never ever, because you never know how far you are from success, okay? As long as you keep learning, getting feedback, and working with a very supportive network, mentors, peers, that's the key, okay? It's impossible to know it all, but you just have to execute, take action. Even if it's not the right action, you will get better and better and better. But the key, friends, is to do it today, okay? And I changed these thanks to Frida, because I'm from Mexico, and I have mentioned this before, that we're all about the tomorrow, right? Mañana, 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 mañana never comes, right? So Frida is like, this needs to be done yesterday. So it's just incredible, the power of doing things today, right? There's no tomorrow. And that applies to your life, right? We have to enjoy today. Today is so critical. Like, I get baffled when people say, when I retire, I'm going to start traveling. Well, you know what? You better start traveling today, because you never know if retirement is going to happen today, tomorrow, in 5, 10 years. So if you love something, do it today. Especially when you're young, when you have the energy, do it today. Okay. And you'll be surprised, right? Like, I've heard a lot of people that, I need to save to make this trip. Do it in a small scale, right? You can control costs in many things that you want to do. The key is to do things today. Uh, Especially, like, as part of this program of the deal makers, right? We have them fill out a profile. And one of the things that struck me out a lot was that people are trying to get from A to B, right? And they've been trying and trying for the last 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 years, and they're not getting where they need to be, where they want to be. So that should give them a hint. You are not doing the activities, the things that are going to get you there faster. You are focusing on something else. So again, the key is to get feedback, right? From mentors, from peers. What am I doing wrong? What is it where do I need to focus on, right? Because evidently this is not working. Okay, that's very, very important, that you take action today. Let me just give you another analogy. We all have the to-do list, and they keep growing, right? And you never get around those. So when something doesn't get done, that's something wrong, right? You either need to delegate, or you are engaging in something that you are not enjoying. So you've got to make a change. You've got to make a change. Like I think of George, now that I saw him, that he decided to quit his job. I was so happy for him, right? Because that's huge. I mean, it's so difficult to take that decision, but I'm super happy because I know George. I mean, he's very smart, he's very sociable, likable, and he's always willing to learn. He's in touch with people, and I'm so confident that George is going to become extremely successful in his new real estate career, especially because he's got a very supportive network, his wife, his family. So I was super excited for him that he quit his job, because he was not happy. He was not doing what he truly wants, right? So great job, George. I'm super happy for you. And that's something that we should learn from, right? Just take that leap of faith, right? Do it. Do it. It's going to be hard, but it's when you go through hardship, guess what? It's going to make you get the best out of you, because you have no other option but to make it, right? To prove to your family that they will have somebody to look up to, somebody that they'll be proud of. So you have no other choice but to succeed, and you will prove that. And I'm confident in this case, George is going to make it happen, and we will do anything under our control to help and to facilitate that success, not only for George, but for anyone that is taking this leap of faith in their real estate careers. Um, so um, I'm super happy that everyone is, we have a great crowd, and that you guys are tonight joining us, because that means a lot, right? To me, and for you, that you want to continue learning. So that says a lot about yourself. I'm very proud, and my commitment is to help every single one of you with whatever we can, right? For you to become successful, like today, not tomorrow, today. I want you guys to become successful today. And that's going to take execution. That's going to be key. And that's something that I learned from Frida. I mean, if there's somebody that can execute, is Frida. She's made tons of mistakes, but guess what? She's come so far ahead. And I've learned that execution. And you know, I happened to listen to Tony Robbins' snippet of video, and he said the same thing, right? Execution trumps knowledge all day long. So does anybody want to share their experience, their frustration, anything that you guys are stuck with, that you're thinking, you know, I'm just spinning my wheels, I'm not getting anywhere, I must be doing something wrong. Does anybody want to share their experience? Elena, David, Cheryl, Emery.
Yes. So every time I get close to get my debt kind of reduced and being debt free, and you know, I keep accumulating. So what is the best strategy you recommend to bring down your debt? I'm trying to be free before the end of the year. I've been struggling with that for 2 years.
Oh, you mean debt free?
Right. Correct. Yes. Correct.
Okay, so have you identified, because obviously you are making income and you are trying to pay down the debt, but have you identified your expenses? What's happening that you know that debt remains the same or even higher, that is preventing you from accomplishing your goal? Have you gone through your expenses, through your lifestyle? Have you made any sacrifices to make a change, or are you in the status quo and you're just hoping for things to magically happen for you? What have you done, Emery?
Yes. All of the above I've been trying. So I went from 2 years ago from being $39,000 debt. I got it under 20. However, I'm trying to like sort of put a steroid on it and get it done out the way right away. So that's the other reason with the new project you have coming up, I'm trying to take that route. But up until now, I pretty much haven't found another way of solving that situation. It has not been increasing. However, it's decreasing slowly on a slow pace.
Okay, so that's good. So one of the things that I suggest is that you have to identify where you're spending your money. Like, let me give you an example. We have to invest our money in products, services, programs that are going to add value to your life in a meaningful way. Okay, so that's the key. Just to identify where your money is going. Am I spending the money, let's say, on learning? Am I spending the money on short-term pleasures that are going in an instant? So that's the key, right? You need to make that call. Is this an investment that I'm making in myself? Um,
That makes sense.
so that is very important, right? Because sometimes we have bad habits, and you'll be surprised, right? Like, let me give an example. Like, people buying or eating out too often. You'll be surprised how much that adds up. So you're gonna need to go through your expense category, right, and identify what is it that I can knock off. What is it that is preventing me from paying that off? Maybe the daily coffee at Starbucks, right? Because it ends up being 300 a month, right? Um, that's just an example. Or eating out. So sometimes you need to make sacrifices, perhaps temporarily, maybe six months, a year, for you to accomplish your goal. But the key is to make a change. Evidently, things are not working. You've got to make a change. And it could be a drastic change. Maybe cut off a credit card. Boom. Then there's no way for the debt to increase if you don't have a credit card, right? You don't have the actual card on you.
Now you're absolutely right. You know what? Now to think of it, everything combined for a quarter for my vehicle, I'm paying $700 a month, which is almost the same as my rent. So, in a way, my expensive habits, I need to slow them down. You're right. That makes sense.
Exactly. And so that's a perfect example, right? And I talk about it in real estate. A vehicle. A vehicle, you need a reliable vehicle to take you places. However, vehicles depreciate, right? So perhaps, and they lose 30% value in the first 2 years. Perhaps downgrade, change your vehicle, sell that off, and then buy a car cash where you don't have to make a monthly payment to the bank. All you need to pay is gas and insurance, and that's it. Try that. And then that's going to help you tremendously cut down your debt. The
Thank you.
card,
Good
I mean,
point, Hugo.
you just identify that. And you know what? Let me tell you, Frida and I went through that exercise many years ago. We went through every single thing. She said, Hugo, you're spending too much on eating out. You're spending too much on parking. I mean, she was able, because she's a numbers person, she identifies so many categories, but you have to dissect where your money is going. Is this adding value to my life? A vehicle, I mean, it's a luxury, but it depreciates, right? Uh, so, except now that I'm thinking, like I see George Tesla, right? Electric cars, man, it's the opposite. They're appreciating in value. Like, used ones are even more expensive than new ones. So I'm blown away, right? But
Yeah, Tesla. I'm thinking of Tesla. My the CEO of my company has a Tesla. He told me he barely spends money recharging it. There's no gas money. So you're right.
right. So just invest in things that are going to add value to your life in a meaningful way. That's going to be critical. Um, in knowledge, I invest money in knowledge. I mean, that's critical, because the more you know, and on top of that, you add execution to it, man, you're going to be flying. And above all, this is what I emphasize in the deal makers: networking, connection. Get on the phone and talk to people, because that's what's going to open up doors for all of you. Connecting with other people. I mean, that's just huge. And then again, don't do it just to expect something in return. Just first of all, get out of your comfort level, connect, get to know people, find out what they're all about, what they need, how you can add value to them. And you'll be surprised when you need something, you make a phone call, boom, things just happen magically. Like, let me give an example. Russell, a good friend of mine, we worked together in the past. He moved to Florida. I went to Florida twice. I met up with him. It was nice, but we didn't have any business relationship at the time or expectation. Yesterday, I called him and I said, Russell, I need a favor from you. And most of you know this, right? I said, I need you to give me and our team first-hand look at your deals for 24 hours. He said, you got it, Hugo. Does that make sense? It's all about relationships. That's it. And I talked to the key player who's given us, I don't know, like 10 properties to see this Sunday. And he told me, I met up with him. He told me, Hugo, it's all about the relationships. I mean, I knew that, but he told me the same thing. You know what he told me? I had to buy, Hugo. He told me I had to buy like junk properties to from this big time nationwide investor, for whatever reason. But then when I needed to get the better ones, he gave me the opportunity to take on the better ones. I mean, these guys are like big time players, where they buy packages of properties. They don't buy one, two, three. They buy like a bunch of them bulk. So anyway, it comes down to relationships. But yeah, to answer your question, Emre, just dissect your expenses. Like the vehicle, you identify one that makes sense to maybe trade it in.
I agree. Thank you, Hugo. It makes
No problem.
sense. I'll put it on
Anybody else?
paper and analyze it.
Yes, exactly. Anybody else? Ram, David, Cheryl, Jerry, Mary.
Hi, how are you, sir?
I just
Hey,
posted
David.
the Mint app. That's a good resource to track your expenses. It also categorizes them and also suggests you where you're spending more, how you can save more, all sorts.
Oh, thank you, Ram.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Hey, Hugo, how are you?
Oh, good. Thanks, Dave. And you?
Doing very well. No complaints. I mean, only thing I can add is I just, been kind of just focusing on what you've been talking about for the last 18 months, just really time blocking and just focusing on trying to get deals. I've been sending out mailers. I guess I've just been, at first I was hitting it, then I kind of slowed down, but I just try to stay consistent to do something to continue to talk to people, call people. Uh, just many years went by where I thought about it, then wasn't really active on the investment side, but on the real estate side it was. So I guess I just made a decision over the last 18 months just to keep going, even with mistakes, just keep going and keep doing it, and good things could happen.
No, that's great. And you mentioned something super critical. You mentioned consistency, follow up. That's so critical in relationships, in real estate, everywhere, right?
Yes.
So when you establish a relationship, well, it's great, right? That you met somebody new that you think you can have something great. But guess what? You need to follow up. It's just like a plant that you need to water constantly. It's
Yes.
exactly the same thing. And as they say, out of sight, out of mind. It is
Yeah.
so true. It is so
Yeah.
true. And you know what? I made the habit of, let me tell you, with Andrew, I managed my way to meet with him every single Tuesday. I went to his office, even if it was for 5 minutes. Just hey, Andrew, what's up? What are you up to? Hey, is there anything that I can do for you? Hey, do you have something going on? Maybe can I help you, or is there anything that my resources can help you with? Every single Tuesday. Okay, so right? Because I was thinking out of sight, out of mind. And it doesn't need to be in person. It could be a phone call, right? But it comes back to the follow-up, to the consistency. That's where the success is, not in the upfront engagement. Think about this. Even your girlfriend or wife, right? We went through the courtship process, right? And once we kiss for the first time, then what? Then you delegated your relationship to your friend? No, right? We need to continue nurturing the relationship for it to be amazing. Um, and it's the same with every single relationship that we establish in business. Absolutely the same.
Hugo,
So
Yes.
Hugo, in regards to time blocking, what I was going to go say is, even though it's tough sometimes, we always got activities and people are always pulling on you to do something. But I learned to say no. I mean, if it's going to affect me, what I'm doing as far as real estate, I mean, I say no. Obviously, we hang with family, do all of that. But I mean, other things that just distracted. I mean, personally, I had to shut off some apps because I just find myself scrolling, wasting time. So So it's almost like self-discipline, where how bad you want it, you really got to focus on is just do it.
That's a great point. Many people are afraid of saying no, and actually, I think I'm one of them, right? That sometimes it's super hard to say no. Frida, that's what I love about her. The Eastern European culture, they're so straightforward. She said no, forget it, or I admire that because yeah, sometimes even for me it's hard to say sometimes no, or when you try to please too many people, right? You end up upsetting as many people. So no, absolutely. Learning to say no to something that you cannot do, um, or that it's not in anybody's interest. I agree. You have to have the guts to be able to say no without being afraid of not being liked by somebody else. I mean, you just can't do it. I agree. Great point, David. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Anything else? Yeah, no, it all comes down to the mindset, the persistence, perseverance, never giving up. That's the key. That's the key. Um, Never giving up, because we never know how far we're from success. Like in DealVault, right? We keep trying and trying and trying, and we're getting better and better and better. I can tell you, we started with the technology, the software, then we added the inner circle, more training, a community around the system, and now we came up with the deal makers, like truly hands-on, truly focusing on the activities that will make you money. So we're getting closer and closer and closer to hitting a home run. Okay, the key is perseverance, consistency, follow up, feedback from people. Um, Nothing will be perfect. We'll continue to make mistakes and learn from them to get better. But that's what life is all about. That's what success is all about: falling, getting up, falling, getting up, falling, getting up. But we need to continuously keep learning. Otherwise, we die alive. Anybody else? Anything that you want to share? Anything that is holding you back? Anything that is bothering you? Great. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Well,
Yes.
I'm up in Chicago. I'm over here in Chicago. I'm just started like a couple of weeks ago, and I'm just trying to. You mentioned something about start calling people, and to be honest, not quite comfortable. But I guess that's the reason I'm not comfortable doing that. Just calling up people just to find out what's going on. Sellers or anybody else. And I guess I'm going to get started. I'm doing that, just calling up people just to get started. Um, do you have any advice or just
Absolutely.
go for it?
Absolutely. So this is the key. Number one, be yourself. Okay, don't try to pretend to be somebody else. You might have heard the really great people how they talk. Don't try to be somebody else that you are not. Be yourself. Be casual, right? That's gonna be the key. And then just get on the phone and go through the first one. And remember, the key is to listen, understand what people are trying to solve, right? And see how you can help them. That's gonna be the key. When people realize that you're truly interested in their problem, in helping them, you will you will find amazing opportunities ahead of you. But again, push yourself. Pick up the phone, and people are gonna curse at you. They're gonna hang up on you. Don't get discouraged, okay? Because you never know again how far you're from success. Keep trying. Keep trying. You'll get better. And by the way, we have scripts. Okay, when you get on the phone with somebody, the key point is obviously to understand what they're going
Mm-hmm.
through, what they need. Number two, you need to understand their motivation. How motivated are they to take action? And number three, you
Right.
want to set up an appointment. That's the key. So do me a favor, send us an email, and then we have a couple of scripts, sellers scripts that we can share with you, so that at least you have some
Mm-hmm.
baseline. But again, you cannot read off of them. You need to sort of rehearse a bit so they come natural. But be yourself. Be
Just be
yourself.
yourself and just listen to see who's motivated, and just keep at it.
Exactly. Just think about this. You're trying to solve somebody else's problem. When you do that, you'll get compensated.
Just to add, Hugo, to the young
Okay,
gentleman,
thanks a lot.
Thank you.
young man, one thing I'll recommend for you, stick around with like minds. Don't try to bring your friends, none of that. Study the game, stick around, and stick around like Hugo. And people like him, they'll get you to your dreams, all right? Good luck to you.
Thank you, Emre. So thank
Thanks
you,
a lot. I
everyone.
appreciate that.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. I put the email on the chat so that you can send an email, and then we'll be able to share ChicagoDealVault.com. We'll be able to share with you some scripts. And then you and I could go through a role play. So I can show you. So you can let us know when you're available, and then we can call you, and then we'll do a role play so that we can help you build that confidence.
Okay, thanks a lot. I appreciate that.
No problem, Marlon. Okay, everyone, thank you for joining. For those of you who are deal makers, we have a funding webinar in 2 minutes, 1 minute. So please disconnect from this meeting and let's join the other one because VinSpace is on the line. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.